Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. BoomStick XL, and somehow or another, my camera just took a dump live on the air. Folks, I have to fix it, but we're going to get into I'll fix my camera momentarily. Listen, thank you so much for being here on of course, tomorrow is Halo Infinite Day. It's pretty much been Halo Infinite week, month, potentially even a year, because a lot of us are still playing Halo Infinite multiplayer. As a matter of fact, yesterday I got a chance to hang out with Zemi Games and Makilla Gorilla, and we had a blast just talking about Xbox. We were talking about the reviews. We were shooting mofos in the face. I didn't do as great as I would have liked, but you know what? I don't know about anybody else. I love being in a party with people, but I just am not in the zone when people are talking to me. Like, I can't become the killer that I know is inside of me, right? So listen, let's start with, of course, the introductions, and then we're going to get into a really heartwarming story. This is something that brought a smile to my face. This is one of the reasons why I absolutely love Xbox. And it's just their social media presence and understanding is just on another level. And what we're going to talk about to open up the show is exactly why they are, and I believe, going to eventually become the market leader and just completely dominate this generation. But let's start with Zemi Games. Zemi, first of all, brother, you never have a problem shooting people in the face. You're actually quite good. And there was a rumor that was thrown out there by a couple of people that you like to talk shit on there. And I have to defend you and say, I don't know what they're talking about, Zemi.
Exactly.
I've never heard of such things.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you play with me, like, you for sure 100% will realize that I do not talk trash or anything. I'm just a perfect person that is just kind to everyone I'm shooting. At 100%. I talking trash, I don't do that. But no, man, super excited for today's show. The topics are absolutely fire. After this show, I get to go and play some more Halo Infinite multiplayer with brand new weekly challenges, which I'm super excited about. Hopefully, I'll finally able to beat your Battle Pass rank, Boom. And then, of course, tomorrow the campaign drops, and
Yes.
I think I would love to see the numbers of like today, how many people are playing multiplayer, right? And then tomorrow, whenever the single player comes out, I would love to see how many people transition from multiplayer to single player. I'd love to see those numbers. I think that would be, funny, maybe.
It's going to be very interesting to see how many people do run over and play the multiplayer that are playing multiplayer. They're going to go over to single player. I know there's been a lot of talk that, some people are going to wait on it because of co-op. Co-op obviously is something that we talked about last night being maybe it has been a factor in some people's points coming off of Halo. I 100%, I absolutely disagree with that. And last night on Primetime Gaming, I basically brought, I thought, a pretty good argument to the conversation regarding a game that's exclusive on Sony in The Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2, you loved it. I hated it. I hated it not because it was bad graphics, because I thought the graphics were stunning. I thought that the weapon crafting was fantastic. I thought the stealth was probably on another level, unlike anything before it. But I thought the story was a drab, and it seemed like it was thrown together because they didn't know which direction they wanted to go in. But again, that's not for this podcast. My complaint is that in those reviews, those god tier reviews that game got, for some for good reasons and some for not so much, was one of the things missing from that game was factions. And as of today's date, they still don't have it, and we're talking over a year now. Now we have a suspicion that what Sony is going to do is the Last of Us 1 remake that they're working on is going to include it so they can charge you $70 and make you pay for factions, when factions should have in fact come with the Last of Us 2. So in those reviews, that were God tier that I just said momentarily ago, they never mention factions. As a matter of fact, Sony did what Sony does best. They make you forget about something that's missing or not there, and you just go on about your business. So again, I still think an 86 where it's currently sitting is fantastic. I believe it's potentially, there's still 15 bigger sites that are waiting, that are doing their review in progress. So it could go up a point. It could up 2 points for that matter. But it's probably going to stay either an 85 or an 86, 87. And I think that's fantastic. But listen, enough of that shenanigans. Let's get into the rest of the panel here. Pong Soul, you guys had an incredible Saturday cast. Once again, epic conversations. How the heck are you?
Doing great, Boom. Winter has arrived, so the snow is falling here. The temperatures are dropping.
I am jealous.
I know you are. That's why I had to bring it up. I know you love it. I love looking at it out my window. Just don't like the rest of the garbage you got to deal with, right? So, but anyways, I get to play hooky on Tuesdays from work in the morning. So I am happy to be here as always. Good to see you all, brothers. Great to see everybody in chat. We do have some awesome topics, like Zemi said. So I am ready to talk some games. This is the best time of the year. So let's get down to it, Boom.
Yes, well, it's great to have you back, brother. And of course, next up, Boxenberger, who just dropped a pretty hefty video, of course, to his growing YouTube channel. How you doing there, brother? Welcome.
What's up? What's up? Yeah, Halo is almost here. I'm in a super good mood. I took off 2 days on Thursday and Friday, so I can't wait to dive into Halo. But first, we have an awesome show here today. We have some fantastic topics to talk about, and I can't wait to do it.
Well, it's great to have you on, brother. And yes, I can't wait to get into Halo. I am going to be playing it nonstop. I'm going to try and figure out a way to play both because I'm having so much fun, and I'm halfway through the battle pass. I just hit level 51, and I'm really enjoying myself. I just got the kill where the person burns and turns into a skull, which I thought was pretty dope, and I have to add that and a few other things. But last and no way least, Mav, how the heck are you, brother? What you been up to?
Just a bunch of random crazy stuff. Family stuff, just been busy. But tomorrow is upon us, Boom. We've been waiting, or I don't know how many of us have been waiting 6 years for this day. We're on Halo Eve, everybody. This doesn't happen very often. So I got this like feeling inside, this like it's like my blood is filled with glitter or something right now. I don't know, man. It's like
I love it. That's great.
I'm like sparkly inside right now.
But is it green glitter? Is it green glitter?
Yeah, I hear like monks singing everywhere I go. Like,
Mav,
it's like
Mav, you
it's
need
like
to
a
go
thing in
see
the
a
back
doctor.
of my head.
I don't know.
That sounds like
Caitlin's been
severe
putting something in your
medical
food,
condition.
Mav.
You think so?
Yeah. Something.
This is outrageous.
What is
It's not normal.
What would that be like called? A glitter blood and then hearing monks chanting and singing like constantly. Like, is that a thing? Maybe I need to go. You're right. I'm gonna go.
A blood infection and maybe some level of psychosis. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
No, I'm joking, man.
now that it's deciphered a little bit, I think I'm gonna be okay. You know what? There's only one thing that can fix this, and that's booting up Halo for the first time.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's where we're at. I can't wait.
Okay, well, listen, I think we're all on the agreeing that Halo is going to stop the world, and I know that a lot of people have been online talking about how Activision is dropping the new Call of Duty map. I think it's not only is pathetic, but no one's going to care. No one is actually going to stop to play the new Call of Duty Warzone map when Halo is releasing, and it's the first time since 2015 that we got a new Halo. So I don't think anyone is going to care. But you know what? What I'm going to have to do, Zemi, after I give my spiel, I'm going to let you take over because I got to reset my browser because my camera's taking a shit live on the air and it's annoying me. But I do want to talk about a real heartwarming story, folks. You heard me talk about it in the opening. Out of the big three, Xbox has been the platform that has an incredible way of reaching out to their fan base, and this comes in the form of Phil Spencer answering people's tweets. This comes in, we've seen Aaron do it, we've seen Larry Herb do it, we've seen Matt Booty do it. Sarah Bond is getting in on the scene. She has exploded on the scene as being very social. It's incredible to see, because these folks hold extreme high positions, high corporate positions that normally will not interact with the people, right? They're very, but Xbox does things just a little differently. And speaking of different, yesterday, Twitter member by the name of John Snow 117. His Twitter handle is @Xbox_superfan in all caps. And indeed, by looking at his collection, he is a super fan. And Boxenberger happens to actually been talking with him, so they know each other, which is pretty cool. I follow him, he follows me, and he is one of these community members that you don't see getting in the middle of the console war shenanigans. He's just a huge Xbox fan. So he posted something on Twitter that I thought was super cool. And what he wrote was this: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Come on, Halo, or @343. I work all day on Wednesday with 3 laughing emojis, please. And he tagged Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, Xbox, and the Microsoft Store. And it's a picture of him wearing a Master Chief helmet with his unbelievable Xbox Halo collection behind him, with a sign, and I'm going to read it verbatim: "Hey 343i, can I play Halo early?" And why that is, and why we're talking about it, is because of how cool what happened right after. Brian Gerard, who is known as Sketch, he is the community manager for 343 Industries. He says this while responding to him: "Impressive collection. Hey, check your DMs, Spartan." Folks, they sent him the game early for him to play because he was working all day tomorrow. Zemi, I mean, we don't listen. This is not a fanboy statement what I'm about to say. It's just facts.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been covering gaming for 4 years, but I've been gaming since 1978. And Microsoft is what they do is a rarity. It doesn't happen very often. And the way social media has exploded over the course of the last 5, maybe even 10 years, you don't see many companies doing this. You've never seen Sony do this. You definitely are not going to see Nintendo do this. This is epic for a multitude of reasons. I mean, here's a guy that is a big fan of the box, big fan of Halo. He throws it out there, and 343 responds and sends him the game a day early. That's incredible. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a little jealous, if I'm going to be honest, just a little bit, because I kind of wish that I had thought to buy a bunch of Halo stuff and take a picture of myself and come up with that amazing piece of content that Jon Snow posted, so I could be playing it a little bit early, today, right now. But overall, I think that it's fantastic what Xbox does on social media. Their social media strategy has just been absolutely fantastic. And huge shout out to Sketch, who was the person that sent him the code in the DM. I think he's the or one of the community managers or community coordinators that works at 343 for the Halo franchise. So I think that's fantastic. But it really just shows how on ball Xbox is at looking at their socials and hearing what the fans say. And of course, whenever a fan asks for something that is completely reasonable and within their power to do, it's awesome to see that they jump out and reward those fans that are extreme, hardcore fans of the brand and the franchise and so on. Just the fact that they go out of their way to reward fandom in ways that other companies just quite frankly don't. And one thing I've said on this show is that there's a lot of things that Xbox does that they don't have to do, right? Like no company has to do. Most consumers don't even expect it, right? But Xbox does anyway, right? Even though they don't have to. And I think that this is just another one of those prime examples of that occurring out of many. Pong, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this event occurring? Did you see it online? And overall, how do you feel about Xbox on social media?
Yeah, I did see it online, and I thought it was fantastic as always. Again, there's not in this day and age, especially with a company the size of Xbox and Microsoft, you don't see this kind of connection with its customers as frequently as we probably should. They are masters at getting out in front, being there with the people, with their fans, and they've put a big emphasis on this. We see more and more of Xbox executives like Sarah Bond jumping on Twitter and interacting with everybody. And I think that creates a connection that goes beyond just, your normal, hey, we appreciate you fans. We appreciate all your support. We appreciate the love. It goes beyond that, and it makes it that much more special to be a part of the Xbox ecosystem. Not for everybody. A lot of people could care less, right? And we're a small bubble on Twitter as far as the overall gaming industry, but the actual benefits of that can't be stated enough when it comes to this, because overall people talk about this stuff and then other people hear about it and are like, really, Xbox is out here doing this kind of stuff? That's kind of cool. So to see something like this, to see a super fan shoot his shot, as he said, put it out there just into the internet space, to the Twitters, to the Twitter gods, and tag some of the Xbox people and say, hey, look, I'm a super fan. If you can't tell, look at the wall behind me. Kind of a big deal here to me. And you know what? Can I play this game early? Reviews are out. Review codes are out there. Can I just get a little something here? And for Xbox to actually step up, for 343 to step up and actually respond to him publicly on Twitter and say, check your DMs. That's like Boom said, it's heartwarming to all of us kind of geekdom, right? All of us nerds out here who love that kind of just interaction with the things that we're fans of. To have that happen to somebody is brings a smile to my face, and it did yesterday when I saw it go down. So yeah, no, I think this is just a continuation of what Xbox has been building. This is how important it is to them. This is why we have what we have when it comes to this transparency. And it's obviously, again, you can say it all day long. Phil could sit there and tell everybody, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to be a part of this community. We want to make sure our fans know that we're listening. You can do that all day long, but unless you have a bunch of team members that believe in that goal and actually show it by doing it, then it's just words. But at the end of the day, Xbox has gone up and beyond on many, many occasions to do stuff like this. And I think it's important. I think it is a key to their success down the road and in the future. And just happy to see it keep going.
Yeah, no, and I think like what you said there towards the end really, really stuck with me, that, it's one thing to say, hey, we're really fan focused. It's a completely other thing to actually show that you are fan focused by interacting and engaging with the community online and hearing their wants, their wishes or whatever, and doing whatever you can to make those things come true. Mav, what do you think about this? Did you see the post online? And what's your takeaway?
Yeah, I thought it's great. I mean, and this is also coming off the heels of the major fallout on Reddit the other day, right? When like he basically had to just say, "Hey, everybody, chill out." You know what I mean? He had this long post and was like, "We're doing the best we can. This is what we're addressing, and all of this stuff." And then he kind of put some stuff out there, knowing he was going to get attacked, and as much so as they ended up having to shut down the the Reddit over the weekend, right? And it's coming off of that to see as much crap as they get, right? As much negativity as they are just overwhelmingly having to consume. And then to come out and still keep that positive energy about the brand, about what you're doing, and then do little things like this and not let it get to you. You know what I mean? Like that speaks not only to Xbox and everything, but to just him as a community manager, honestly, and that entire team at 343. I mean, they've been through a lot over the last 6 years, right? Halo comes with unprecedented expectations in the gaming industry as far as what people expect from a game. Like you have to check all these boxes, and if you don't, people are upset. And what they have achieved with this game is seeming like it's overwhelmingly positive, with missing some things that people kind of overreact and go crazy about, and they have to take all this take all this on while still focusing on making sure they get everything done. And to come out with little things like, "Hey, yeah, I see you." One person that's a huge Halo fan asking for this, we got you. You know what I mean? It means that there's still, no matter what, all the chaos and all the stuff that's going on, their community focus is still shining through, right? And that was something that's come on ever since I've seen Extra, since Phil came on board with Xbox to really step in the forefront, bring back the fan base. That was one of his pillars, right? Of his attention to, hey, we need to show the fans that we we respect them. We want to earn their respect back, right? And little things like this go a long way with that. Yeah, we're talking about this one little instance now on a show. It's our lead topic, right? I mean, just because of this gesture. So shout out to the fan, right? I'm jealous of your collection. I wish I had that. I wish I would have been investing, for like 10 years in Halo stuff, just so that way I could get to play Halo early as well. I made the wrong move. You know what I mean? I didn't plan ahead well enough. But shout out to him and 343. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's an excellent point. Like, because he did get a lot of fire, at certain people in the community for just how they feel, Halo Infinite's multiplayer could be better. And he did post that very, very long blog post, update post, whatever we want to call it, on Reddit. So things definitely were I would imagine very stressful for him in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
But he still, goes out there, does his job, is professional. And I think it speaks to, Sketch's, character and his ability as a community manager, which I think is great. And I also like how you added in the part that you're just a little bit jealous, Pong. I actually led with that as well. Are you a little bit jealous? Just a slight little bit?
Of course. Anytime anybody gets something like that, of course. How can you not be, right? So, I mean, again, but you know what? At the end of the day, I'm happy for game, just
Absolutely.
for that gamer specifically. Again, he shot his shot, right? Anybody could have done that, but he actually put himself out there and tried it.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? It worked. So congratulations for him. So my jealousy, I can wait. I don't have that big of FOMO, but there is a little tinge like, hey, why didn't I do something like that? Right. So no, good on him. Good on him.
Yeah. I just kind of wish I would have thought about it and, just invested as much money as he did in Halo merchandise over the years. Archimedes, man, it's never easy coming last, but how do you feel about this? Did you see it happen on social media? But more importantly, you actually have spoken to John 117. You said, in the green room before, you actually spoken to him before. And then also on the back end of this question, are you a little bit jealous?
Yeah, well, I'm not really jealous. I'll get to that in a second. I know John for a while now. We've been following each other on Twitter for, I think, 2 years now or so, and we've had our conversations. He's a super Xbox fan. His entire basement is a dedication to Xbox. think he has every merchandise that Xbox ever released. He's just a super fan, and I'm glad to see someone like him get such a code, because he is a super positive community member, never engages in the console war bullshit, and so yeah, he definitely deserves it. I'm not really jealous. I mean, he gets to play the game 2 days earlier, and he really deserves it. I'm more kind of jealous for those who got actually the review code, because I didn't get one. That is what I was hoping for, but yeah, no, John definitely deserves it, and it's a great move from Microsoft. It just shows what we've seen over the last 5, 6, 7 years from the executives from Microsoft. I don't think there's any other gaming company out there where the executives are so active on social media, and every studio has a very active community manager. I only know a handful of really active community managers from other gaming companies. I know, for instance, Ben Studio has a very active community manager from Sony, but almost every Xbox studio is very active on social media, and this just shows that they really try to engage with the community, with the fans, and that's a fantastic way for market your product these days. I mean, social media is big. It's probably the biggest marketing channel you can have, and for them to make use of that and do little things like this, I mean, it doesn't cost them anything, but hey, they got us to talk for like 20 minutes on a podcast about this, and that just shows you how effective such a thing can be. And for John, I'm happy that he gets to play Halo right now. I'll be playing that on Thursday, by the way, because yeah, you can't preload Halo Infinite. You have to actually download it at launch, and it with my internet, I won't be able to play it on Wednesday. I have to wait till Thursday.
No, don't say that.
They release it on 7 p.m. and I doubt that I will be able to download it before I go to bed on Wednesday. So
yeah, but
I'll be playing that on Thursday.
You can't preload it though.
No, you can't. You cannot.
Hmm.
You cannot preload the Halo campaign. Yeah. And Xbox servers here in Germany, or at least in the region I live in, are really not good. So I won't be able to play.
Well, that's why you took off Thursday and Friday. Then obviously that makes sense. So at least Thursday and Friday you can enjoy yourself. Yeah,
and I definitely will.
Yeah. Well, listen, Zemi, thanks so much for the save. I figured out what the problem was. It was the stupid Stream Deck that I had plugged in, and it just ruined everything. This is what the folks, you see this kind of shenanigans. This is why I don't game on PC, which I'm a console guy, because you're trying to run the show. I put a lot of work into these damn shows, and to have it sucks when things go wrong. Anyway,
Zimmy held it down. Zimmy did.
Of course he
did. I did my best. I am not even half of the host that you are. Boom.
Stop it. Listen, Mav. As someone that loves interacting with the community, it's something that you and your wife Caitlin do to an incredible level, which is why we love you guys, right? Seeing this happen is really great, and it's not just great because as a community we get to cheer that 343 did something. Boxenberger just said it. This guy is a super fan, right? He his whole basement is Xbox. Right. And you love to see it, that when someone that loves the box as much as this guy does gets his wish granted in a way that he didn't expect. Like, he put it out there. I'm sure that in his mind, he's like, yeah, they're not going to even know who I am. And here they are. They dropped the game early. I love the story. That's why we opened up today's podcast with it. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I want to say first that Zimmy made the right move earlier and went in the correct order and put me before Archimedes. So I did already chime in on this.
Oh, you did?
Okay. Everyone's covered it. Yeah.
Okay. So all right. Well, there you go.
But it's awesome. It's freaking cool, man. It's super awesome.
This is what happens when you're offline. So I missed it. Anyway, listen, folks. Great way to open up the show. Great way for us to celebrate Halo. Again, it's currently sitting at an 86 meta, which I think is a great score. I think that's fantastic. Again, my personal beefs about people taking points off for two things missing. I'm not downplaying it, folks. Like I said, I've had DMs from people that went out of their way and said, "Hey, listen, Boom, you don't understand. Like I played with my dad, and I want to now play with my son. You can't argue with that. That's beautiful. That's what gaming is all about. Generation down to generation down to generation, and you can't argue that someone is going to walk away and they're going to be upset about that. As a reviewer, though, I would, if it was me, if I was given the opportunity to review it, I would review it based on what has been presented to me. Multiplayer, single player. Would I make a mention of it? I wish that these were here, sure, but these are modes, folks, right? And I understand that they have been a part of Halo for a long time, but this is a much different Halo than what we grew up with. This is an open world Halo. This is a much different Halo. But again, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole. What I do want to talk about, and this was, again, folks, outside of the Halo news, there really hasn't been a lot. I know that Forza has crossed 12 million, which is freaking ridiculous, right? That they've crossed it in such a quick time. I do want to bring up a conversation that, again, this is a self-made. This is one of those topics that, I sat back and I decided to write an original topic. And, at the end of every year, right, as gamers, we all gravitate to a particular publisher that had a banner year. We've seen Sony do it in 2018. We've seen them do it in 2019. They launched some really epic games into their first-party platform. I'm not going to go over what those games are. You folks, if you're a fan of many platforms like I am, you'll understand that they did have back-to-back banger years, right? But this year, 2021, Microsoft has quietly put together, I think, and I've said this before, one of the best years in a decade for their first party. And we have seen Halo, which you got on your screen, which is releasing tomorrow officially. Forza Horizon 5, which has now just crossed 12 million players. Age of Empires 4, which of all the reviewed first-party games is the lowest at an 82, but a lot of people love Age of Empires, and obviously, the 82, not bad, right? I mean, some people like, if it's not a 90, it sucks. It's not actually true, but, you had Age of Empires, Psychonauts 2, sitting, I believe it's an 87 or an 88, I'm not sure. But that surprised a lot of people. Obviously, Double Fine does what Double Fine does best, and they know how to tell an incredible story, and they did just that. And of course, last but not least, what else do we have over here? We had Flight Sim, which sits at a low 90. I think it's 92, which is incredible. And if you factor in Deathloop by Bethesda, who is now owned by Microsoft, man, talk about a banner year. Zemi, I want to go to you real quick on this. When we start talking publisher of the year, does Microsoft deserve to be in that conversation?
Who else?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, great way to put it. But yeah, no. I mean,
what other publisher released the quantity and the quality of games that Xbox has put out this year? Like, I can't think of one, right? I'm not saying that, that there's no publisher that can compete with Microsoft now or Xbox now, but, quite frankly, Xbox, out of all the major publishers, in my opinion, put out the most and the best games of this year. So as a publisher for so far this year, for me personally, I find it really, really difficult to find someone that is that performed better as a publisher this year, right? And see, that's one thing that's really interesting, is that so often we look at Xbox not as a publisher, right? We see EA as a publisher and THQ as a publisher and Ubisoft or Ubisoft, however you want to pronounce it, as a publisher, right? But we very rarely ever see Sony, Nintendo, or Xbox as publishers, and very much so in all rights they actually are, and I think as time goes on, that's going to become even more apparent to people. But for sure, Xbox absolutely, in my opinion, deserves the title of Publisher of the Year, just based off of the quantity and the quality of products that they've been able to release this year. And the crazy part is that we're just getting started. It's just going to get wilder and bigger and crazier as the years go on. Because I mean, there's just so much in the works over at Xbox and with their studios and who they've acquired and all this different stuff. It's just getting started. But yeah, I 100%, I don't see who else competed better than Xbox this year as a publisher.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I definitely think that was a great way to start it. Who else? Because I mean, one could argue Nintendo has put out quite a few impressive games. Certainly, it would have been great to have the Breath of the Wild 2, like everyone was anticipating, but I believe we're going to get that in the first quarter of next year. Pong, I want to go to you next on this. Microsoft, like I said in numerous podcasts, has quietly really started what I believe, and I agree with Zemi, going to be back-to-back years of incredible first party. I mean, as Xbox gamers, right, this is what we've been waiting for, right? The whole last generation, they had plenty of incredible first party titles. But man, when you look at what they released this year, mind you, during a pandy, right? So we take that into account. 2022 and 2023, we could potentially have over a dozen first-party AAA releases, and I think they may even overreach that one per quarter that we heard, that was rumored that they want. They want one AAA game per quarter. If you look at what we think is coming in the Fables, right, in the Avows, in plenty of the other games that we have coming out, it's pretty impressive. But for this year, what is your opinion on them holding the crown of Publisher of the Year?
Well, I don't think you would be wrong. I mean, I think people might disagree. There's certainly people with different opinions out there, but I don't think you would be wrong to say that by any stretch of the imagination. Again, you got to look at the year as a whole, right? And even though they didn't have much at the beginning of the year, they certainly made up for it in the second half of the year, right? And that's the big thing. It really doesn't matter when the games come out. It matters how they come out. And right now we're seeing Xbox specifically on an upward trend, right? This is what we all were hoping to see with their new focus, with all these acquisitions they've made, with their new focus on making sure that we got quality, not just quantity, that they were giving all of these developers the time. And we saw that especially with games like Psychonauts 2, who were given the time, Double Fine, and those wonderful people over there were given the time, the resources to make Psychonauts 2 what they wanted to make it, instead of having to cut corners as an independent studio, as they talked about many times they would have had to do to get that game out. Instead, they were allowed the creative time to make sure the game had all of the aspects that they wanted in it before it launched. And even though that's a multi-plat, it's still a first-party studio. And so we see this progression now with Microsoft and Xbox. All the talk, again, just like in our first topic, it's one thing to say things. It's one thing to come out and say all the right things and say, hey, this is our new direction. This is what we're going to go for. We understand that we have to improve here, and this is why we're making all these acquisitions, and we're committed. And you could say all these great things in the public space, but you have to show it at the end of the day, because that's what this business and this industry is all about. And Xbox is doing that now. They're coming out. They made the huge, and I still say, one of the most courageous decisions in the industry's history to delay Halo by a year. And I don't say that lightly, but they did that anyways. And now they are, witnessing and actually just reaping in the benefits of making that tough decision, of costing hundreds of millions of dollars potentially in advertising last year, all of that stuff. Halo is now hitting the right notes. Yeah, there are still some things missing, but they are hitting the right notes and they're getting the praise that they deserve for doing that. And so this is what we want to see Xbox in the future down the road. But this year specifically, the second half of the year has been nothing but stellar for them. Even remove Deathloop, I wouldn't consider, yes, it's a first party game, but let's realistically 90% of it was completed before they were a first party studio. But still, why they go make that acquisition at ZeniMax, people, talked, there's people on with certain agendas that decided to try to downplay the ZeniMax deal. Guess what? No, you're getting nothing but high quality talent from that acquisition, and Deathloop is proof of that and what we can expect down the road when they start making it. So yeah, this year has finished out stronger than I think any year that I can remember in recent memory, probably going back to the 360 era for Xbox for sure. And I think that this is proof positive. Now they've got to continue to do it.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah,
don't let off the pedal.
Yes.
Yeah, they have to. They can't let up in any way, shape, or form. They can't rest on their laurels. I don't think they will. Phil and his team has already been in a spot where they kind of did that and were floundering a little bit. We've seen Sony do it in the past as well. You can't rest on them. And I think it's nothing but go from here on out, because their actual goals are so much bigger this time around. It's transcending what they normally would be looking at during a console generation, because they are trying to reach 2 billion, 3 billion people. They are not going to be able to let up on this at all, even if they wanted to, which I don't believe they do in any way, shape, or form. So I think that, we are seeing the fruits of that labor, of all that work they put into to get to this spot. And so I think for me, the second half of the year is just a tip of the iceberg. It is what we are going to see down the road in the future. Could there be a slip up here and there? Of course there can. This is an industry that's very risky. Every project is risky. Even if you give these projects the maximum amount of time and resources, it could still fall flat on its face. We know this. We've seen it happen in the past. However, I think that their commitment that they're showing here and now in these games that are coming out right now as we speak, the Forza Horizon 5s, the Halos, that commitment is going to pay dividends down the road. And I think that that's what we're going for here. And if they can really honestly pull off that one home run per quarter, and I actually think, Mav and I had this discussion plenty of times. Mav has done a whole video with the amount of content that they're making deals for and that they have in-house. That could actually be one every 2 months that we start once they get ramped up to speed. Now, if they can continue this trend right here, if we can see this kind of quality come out of them consistently with all of those hits, look, you're talking about domination in a way we've never seen before. Okay, because nobody can match the output. So
it's just too many studios, and
it's just too much,
and there's too many games. Now, again, you bring up a great point. We're looking, if we're peeking behind the curtain into the future a little bit here, it's pretty interesting because when you think about, we know that they have 35 plus games that they're working on internally, first party. We also got to take into account that there are several second parties things that they're working on, and also they may be locking. They may be doing, maybe pulling a Sony with certain smaller titles, locking those down. The output of games,
and just to throw this in there as well, they're also still looking to acquire new studios.
That's a great point, Zemi. Fantastic point. Done. I didn't even put that into the equation. And yeah, it's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's incredible, Boom. But again, this second half, absolutely, I can definitely hear the argument, and I would be hard pressed to argue against it that they are publisher of the year for this year, even though they didn't have much at the beginning of the year at all, outside of third-party deals. I definitely say the second half is worthy of a full year's worth of content with what we've gotten. And that's pretty, Gears Tactics, throw that in there. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I know it was on PC first, but it doesn't matter. When you bring a game like Flight Simulator or Gears Tactics and you bring it over to console, it's a big effort and it's worthy of consideration for the total year. And Gears Tactics is better than even what the scores gave it. That's coming from a strategy guy who likes playing strategy games. That game is phenomenal. And again, it's not for everybody, but it's phenomenal. So I think that just the second half makes up for whatever lack of that you want to talk about in the beginning of the year. So yeah, I definitely can hear that they're publisher of the year. And I think this is a conversation that we're going to be having for the foreseeable future. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years out. I think we're going to be having this conversation on a regular basis with their new focus, with their acquisitions, with all the talent they have in-house, and the basically at this point, when you want to look at it, unlimited resources behind each one of those studios. Really, there's no stopping Microsoft and Xbox right now from not being the dominant force this generation.
Yeah, and you know what? Let me bring it over to Bllomburg. I want to add to what everyone has already said that I didn't add before. When you take Xbox Game Pass and you add that to the equation of 2021, and you also take into account that somehow or another they were able to move as many Xbox Series S consoles in this year during a pandy, does that say for you Publisher of the Year?
Oh, 100%. Sammy said it beautifully. Who else? The thing is, in the first couple of months of the console generation, actually, Microsoft didn't have much outside of the Medium. I don't think there was any release up until July, in terms of exclusive games. But that was definitely not the plan from Microsoft. I think we can agree that Microsoft probably had a different launch in mind when they launched when they launched their Series consoles. Now this year has been amazing. I mean, starting from July, we had every month a big banger. We had the Flight Simulator in July. We had in August Psychonauts. We had in September. What was September? Age of Empires. We had then Forza. We had Forza
in
missing
November.
one, Deathloop.
Yeah.
And now we are getting Halo. So yeah, that's just an amazing year, and it is only the very, very beginning. I mean, we can all do the math. They have 23 studios. All of them have their own projects. Yeah, it's not like any of those are support studios or something like that. They are full production studios. They have their projects. Most of them have multiple teams and multiple projects in the making. And that's why we know that Microsoft has something around 30 to 35 games in the making as of right now. And that's only the first party stuff. I think 19 of those are announced already. And we know about them. That
There's
they are
14 games that are also unannounced and only have project names.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a lot of second or third party deals as well. But anyways, let's stick to the first party stuff. 30 to 35 games in the making. Even if you go to these games and say, okay, the average development time is something in between 3 to 5 years, which is the average time it takes to make such a game. That means that we are getting at least 7 to 10 games per year.
Yeah.
That's simple math.
It's incredible.
So
yeah,
not all of those are the AAA games. Obviously, there are smaller projects in there, like, I don't know, a Grounded, or something like that. There are these smaller passion projects in there, but that should definitely make for at least 5 to 6 major releases each year. And that's just what the status is right now. That does not include any second-party deals. Next year, one of my most anticipated games is Stalker 2. We have these deals as well. They come on top of those. So I think over the course of this generation, we will have that discussion each and every year. Microsoft is going to publish a ton of games. That's just a fact. That is something you cannot ignore. there is basically no other publisher out there that has this kind of amount of AAA projects in the making. Not even an EA is going to release like 6 AAA games each year. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Pong said it. They are not done with the acquisitions. They are only going to grow. So yeah. Will we have that conversation more often? Definitely. This was only the beginning. 2021 was only the very, very early beginning of what Xbox is delivering this generation. And it's going to be, I think, one of the best, if not the best generation we had so far in gaming.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And again, this is something I think we've all been waiting for, and it's transpiring right in front of our eyes. And like I said, what a way to start what we all believe is going to be back to back years of incredible first party, where they're put the cherry on top of 2021 for them is exactly what you see on your screen. The multiplayer. Listen, as a shooter, it's perfect. Now, I get a lot of people have issues with the ranking. They're working on it, and they've been doing it because I've been ranking up like crazy, even when I'm not using double XP. So I've been having a blast with it. They're going to tweak it, and they're going to continue to build on it. But man, the foundation is strong. But for me, the cherry on top of this beautiful banana boat sundae, that's not a chocolate pie. P.S. By the way, Zemi Games, is the Halo Infinite single player campaign. This is 343's coming out party. This is something we've all knew that they could do, and they have delivered. Like I said, I didn't watch too many of the reviews because, I saw a dealer, I saw ACGs, I saw a few others. I don't want to be spoiled. Like, I want to really enjoy this. I want to start it up and just dive myself right into it. My headphones on, lights off, and just enjoy it. So I didn't want to know too much, but there's a lot there to be excited about for sure. Mav, let's get your opinion on this. With what everyone has said, what is your personal opinion on whether or not what the media decides to name Microsoft as Publisher of the Year? This is something that is going to come up in conversation because they do it every year. Has Microsoft earned that title?
I think without a doubt. I mean, there's really no even close competition for publisher this past year, right? And this could continue going forward.
Oh, sure.
Right? I mean, there's gonna be some years. I think 2022 may be a little bit more interesting between with PlayStation in the fold as well, right? But because you're gonna have some big releases, man, like going forward with all of those releases, like you guys keep alluding to and stuff, it's just gonna be absolutely insane. So it all comes down to that that they need to have quality, right? With Game Pass, if you fill it with what people would say fodder, Game Pass fodder, and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to attract people to a service. That's a subscription service. And once they made this whole shift several years ago, they really doubled down on quality, right? It's a dedication. And you've seen that with making difficult decisions with some of their biggest franchises because of their dedication to quality. Could they have pieced something together and released it last year for Halo Infinite to meet that launch of Xbox? They could have other games do this stuff all the time. Xbox used to do that, and not anymore, right? Instead, now after delaying a year, guess who is leading the way for the Player's Voice Award at the Game Awards right now? Halo
Maybe
Infinite.
Microsoft with 20 nominations.
Yeah. Well, right now, Halo Infinite is the leading vote getter for the fans' voice.
For the fans' voice. Yes.
For the
player choice.
voice, player choice award, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, I mean they've come a long way, right? It come a long way from the last generation where they couldn't buy a win, right? They were investing in different things. They're trying to do different things, and they just because of the mind share, the negativity or whatever, even when they had something that was solid and good, it didn't get the attention it deserved. Now they rededicated to quality, and because of the hype and the momentum of the console, and because of the success of Game Pass as well, you're seeing their successes be fully realized among the community and shouted out loud and
Isn't
proud,
it
right?
refreshing to see that, Mav? Like, look, folks,
It
this
is.
isn't a, we're not going to turn this into a console war thing. But as an Xbox fan, I loved Xbox last gen.
Yeah.
You see my gamer score. It's over 300,000 now.
Mhm.
I love playing on Xbox, but it was hard to sit back and watch them get assaulted the way they did. And you know, we're not going to point fingers at who was responsible for it. They just weren't ready to arrive. And
Yeah.
they are here now, Mav. And they have arrived. And my God, have they arrived?
Yeah, it was a lot of work too. I mean, for them to get to this point, I mean, they had to like spend more than any other company. They have to like do more marketing than any other company. They got to do more fan service than any other company. They got to have the best services than any other company. They got to do all this stuff to get the respect back, right? Because even when you had things going decent with some decent games, it's just there's no excitement. The things got overlooked. Too much negativity out there, and to crawl out of that is difficult for any company. And the way they're doing it is not only doing it in fan service positivity and all this stuff, but it's changing the industry.
Yes,
They're making industry changing moves this generation, and it started with the end of the last generation. There's really started this momentum train. You started seeing people be like, okay, I see what Xbox is doing with the One X, and then they had Game Pass, and then they started getting some momentum with this stuff. And then the only thing that was missing from the puzzle was the big time first party games, right? And they had been investing, but it takes time. It takes time. We know that they had investments in 2018, 2019, continuing in 2020, and that are going to keep doing that, but it takes time. So everybody that was saying, hey, Xbox has no games, Xbox has no games.
Dude, my
Man,
backlog is as tall as you are.
it is crazy. Now you look at the amount of games that are coming, and the people that have been following have been seeing this, right? They've been seeing this tidal wave is about to approach, and we've been telling people you're not ready for this, right? And it has officially begun. When you look at the games that they launched this past year and the dedication to quality, giving developers more time to complete their games, make their games bigger, hiring new talent at the studios, investing in growing all of the studios that they acquire. All of this stuff is compounding and turning into high rated games. All of these games, even the ones that come out only for PC, like Age of Empires over an 80, right? On Meta. And you got Flight Simulator, originally launched to PC, now it came to a console. Gears Tactics was really good, so you can put that in there. Wasteland 3, Psychonauts 2. You know, you got now we get into Halo Infinite.
You also got the you know what? One thing we forgot to mention, Mav, that came out in December, mid-December of last year, that could be considered still a part of the 12-month plan, was Hivebusters. Like that came out of nowhere, and still, my God, it's probably some of the best Gears content, best looking Gears content in quite some time.
Oh, it's huge, and it was a blast to play, and it was the first time I had played a game. I was like, wow, this doesn't seem like it felt really like possible last gen, like with what I was experiencing on the Series X with all of the effects and everything going on. But they're continuing with this quality thing, and like y'all are talking about the amount of games coming, because like Pong alluded to that video that I had done and put together. It was like there was a total, I think, of about what we equated to a possibility of about 60 games in the pipeline.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
And
bananas.
the other key point to this, was a lot of the games that they come out with, they don't end support on them. It's not one and done. They release it, it's out there. Okay, that's it. They continue to support these games and they get better over time. So games like Flight Sim is getting consistently new content. Forza Horizon 5 is going to get consistent new content. Halo Infinite is going to get consistent new content. A lot of these games are going to get consistent new content. So when they launch, it's not only, wow, this is great now, but it's only going to get better over the course of the generation, as you're going to get these free updates. You're going to get if they do release a new console, let's say 3 or 4 years from now, like a mid-gen, guess what? You're probably going to get updates on all these games. They're going to support that. at either higher resolutions, higher frames, all these things because of the way that they are incorporating smart delivery as well as all of the free updates within their franchises. So that plus the ongoing content plus the quality to begin with the attention to quality that the studios are giving the extra time and giving more studio space. Hellblade developers, Ninja Theory got new freaking mocap studio. And Exile moved into a brand new studio.
Yeah,
They're
big.
growing teams, building new teams. Right, we just got other news about other new teams being built. Right,
We're going to talk about that in a second. There might be a secret fighting game team, and we got some information on who might be leading that unannounced studio in a few minutes. But yeah, please continue your point.
Yeah, I'm just the amount of content that is going to be quality going in with this studio is only started with this year.
Yeah,
this is the beginning. And there's no like who is even second. You know what I mean? At that point, you got to really think about it. Who could compete with second? You got to debate there.
Yeah.
Right. But there's really no debate when you look at the amount of titles that they came out with. It's a pretty clear choice that this year belonged to Xbox.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, listen, whether you agree or you don't agree, if you are an Xbox fan, and I think that over the nearly 300 people that are here are probably Xbox fans, which is why you're tuning into the Xbox Factor podcast, would agree with that particular statement. But before we get into topic number 3, which of course I could not wait to talk about because I'm a diehard Killer Instinct fan, and folks, my dreams might have been answered. I have a couple of super chats to get into. The first one of the day comes to us from a good friend of the show, generous friend, Drawn TJ drops a $5 super chat, says, "Hi, Boom and panel. He's sick and staying home watching the awesome podcast. Well, dude, hopefully you feel better so you can get down with some Halo. And it's funny that you just happened to get sick the week that Halo is releasing. But hey, good on you for being home." Nonetheless, Gerald Mack, generous friend of the show, didn't just drop one super chat. He drops 2, and the first one for $2 says, "Hit that like button." Thank you very much for that. Yes, if you are enjoying the podcast, please, for the love of Joe, hit the damn like button. And if you're new, please consider subscribing. His second super chat comes in at $5 and says, "Microsoft is the sleeping giant and is now fully awake and backing his little brother, Xbox. People should brace for it. This is just the beginning." Indeed, it is. Keo Walker, good friend of the show, he drops a $5 super chat and says, "Just a reminder that Winter Game Fest starts today until the 21st. Yes, and that is interesting because they're going to have a lot of smaller titles that we didn't know that you'd be able to download and play. I love these kinds of events. To get a chance to play some games that we're going to get like a sample size. I don't necessarily know if this is the right week for it per se with Halo, but I'm still going to download a couple of games nonetheless. And our brother from Primetime Gaming, Kay Asante, the voice of the Circle podcast on the Gaming Circle podcast on Saturday mornings, drops a $5 super chat and says, "Good afternoon to the best daytime podcast panel." Thank you for that. Great points all around. Special salute for Zemi Games. His smack talk is only second to his gaming skills. Indeed, it is. Like I said, folks, listen, I can't, I'm not going to publicly admit that he talks trash because I don't know
what anyone's talking about.
I'm going to be right there with you. I've been playing with you for weeks now, and I've never heard anything. So
I'm nothing but a pleasent person to be around.
You are pleasant. Yeah. Especially when you're, beating down these kids that think they're good at Fortnite. But anyway, let's get to topic number 3, folks. Listen. I'm going to mention someone that is very famous on Twitter.
Hey, Boom.
Yes,
Boom.
sir?
Did you get Gerald Mack's first super chat? He said
yes, I did. Yes.
Not the last one you just read, but the first one.
The one for $2.
Really early. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. He just mentioned it in the chat. So
I got you, Gerald Mack. I appreciate it. I could have sworn I mentioned it.
The $5 one.
No, $2 one.
The $5 one way early.
Hearing me and Halo victories salute.
Oh, you know what? I did miss that one. Please read that again there.
Well, I just read it. Was Gerald Mack. He had a $5 super chat, and he said, "Shout out Mr. Boomstick and Zimmy for carrying me in the Halo victories salute."
Oh, you
Well,
liked reading that one to me. didn't
Yeah,
you?
of
You
course
just
he
had
does.
to.
Zemmy's like,
Oh.
I'll take that.
You want me to read that again, Boom? I can read that
No,
again.
that's once
All right.
quite nice.
I
But
might
yeah.
frame that one, honestly. Thanks,
you-
Gerald.
Well, yeah, thank you for the generosity, brother, and thank you for the comment. Listen, we were having fun. We're having a great conversation as well as playing. And I normally don't like to talk when I'm playing because like I said, I like to concentrate so I can get my kill on. But I do want to bring up topic number 3, folks. And it comes to us a couple of days ago from a good friend of this community, Tim Dog, also known as @xcloud Tim Dog on Twitter. He writes this on Twitter: "Something tells me we're getting a fighting game." And he puts a picture in of, now I'm going to butcher this poor man's name. It's Aaron Piper Guards, I think it is, or Jerds. He is now an executive producer at Microsoft, and his title, that's his title. It says no studio. It says Xbox Game Studios Publishing. But here is where it gets interesting, folks, and where my detective brain turns on. He was an executive producer at WB Games from 2017 to 2021, 4 years, 1 month. And before that, he spent 8 years with NetherRealm Studio as a senior producer and regular games producer. Now, again, can we suggest that maybe Microsoft is starting to gear up for the announcement of a new studio that's going to work on fighting games? I say yes. Now, a couple of months ago, and I'll start with Pong Soul here. Pong, a couple of months ago, we saw an interview with both Phil Spencer and Matt Booty when specifically asked about Killer Instinct. They both commented that we have had this ongoing conversation on wanting to bring this back. They just haven't had the team or the right personnel to make said game. Obviously, the 2 studios that did it before, one of which was bought by Amazon, is gone, and the second one is doing their own thing. So Microsoft is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, there's been some talk over the years, going back all the way to 2015, where Ed Boon, head of NetherRealm Studios, said publicly that he wanted to make a Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct. And he said specifically, well, it would have to be an exclusive for obvious reasons. And then right after that, Phil Spencer responded. Now, folks, this is 2015, and you can fact check me. Specifically said, I love that idea. Now, that was many, many years ago, and we are now in 2021. There's been talk about potentially WB Games being purchased and acquired. We don't know if that fell through. I know I saw documentation that NetherRealm Studios was not one of those studios that was being held back by the Discovery deal that could potentially be up for sale. But we're still waiting, and I think that we could get some big announcements in 2022. But Pong, hiring this guy who is now an executive producer at Xbox Game Studios Publishing, that obviously they're not attaching him to a studio because they haven't announced said studio yet. But it looks and appears, based on this hire, that they might be building their own studio, so they don't have to depend on anyone to make the game for them. They could go make it themselves. What are your thoughts on this big hire?
Yeah, so this is interesting, Boom. And again, don't forget, we had Special Nick come out beginning of last month or the end of October and state that he had word that Killer Instinct was being worked on, right? Now, he didn't know what studio it was, and he was trying to dig into that, and he has not given any update as to if he has found out who is actually doing it or not. So we could have a situation where we do have a new studio in-house under the veil of secrecy being created and starting to work on getting us a new Killer Instinct, which would be incredible. I want to look a little deeper here, Boom, because the ties, we're in speculation town here, and you brought it up.
What my favorite place to be. Yes.
You know it, brother. The unicorns are running free. It is not snowing there. It is 75.
No. Let it snow. So, okay? It's snowing on my side of the island. Come on.
Okay. All right. We'll have a Christmas part, right? Where we're going to have that, right? Okay. We'll add on to speculation town here. Look, the connections with WB grow stronger and stronger. Now we know Matt Booty was head over at Midway when they got bought out by WB. Yep. So we know he knows the teams there. There's a little under the radar kind of Bigfoot exec at Microsoft that nobody talks about because he never interviews. Like there's a few of them out there that we don't hear about. But Mav and I had this conversation in DMs a month or two ago as well, because I found this guy by going through, I don't remember what I was looking up. I was looking up something and I found him. His name is Peter Wise. This guy was the senior vice president and head of studios, group general manager for Warner Brothers from 2008 till 2018. Wow. Guess where he is now? GM of publishing at Xbox Game Studios and has been since 2018. Now you add this gentleman on top of it, and you're talking about Xbox collecting WB execs, okay? Right. And you can't understate the fact that the latest hire had direct connections to Nether Realms, right? Yes. You can't understate that. That is a huge thing. But I just want to say that these growing red string lines of the conspiracy theory, right, of the connections from WB to Xbox tells me that definitely that deal could still be in the works and on the table, because it's obviously important to bring people in. You start building that they already have a knowledge of the working and have the working relationships with WB people, right? So now you start to build this kind of group, this collection of people who know what the WB teams are all about, and it makes the transition that much easier, right? When you have familiar faces and familiar voices. And we know that's important to Xbox. That's one of the reasons why the ZeniMax deal got done, because they had worked with them, especially Bethesda, for so long that they were all friends already. And they had that intimate knowledge of one another. And I think that this is what this is kind of building towards here as well. But I definitely think, specifically on Killer Instinct, I think it's in the works. I think now that we have a lot of smoke going on here, again, it's going to be interesting to see if this is some kind of new team being built, secretly, to not spoil the surprise, or to get things in place where they're ready to say, hey, we'd like to welcome to the world, Team X, who is going
kind
to
of like the initiative.
Kind of like the initiative, kind of one of those situations where, we got them specifically working on a fan favorite franchise, one that we know is so important to the community, and in a genre that is underappreciated these days because things change, but the fighting genre is still big. And when you come out with a great game, then even, it hits and it does very well. So I think that Killer Instinct is very important. Phil, like you said, has come out and said, Matt Booty's come out and said that they understand the importance of that game. Man, if they can pull it off, if they could be in the works with WB and they could get Nether Realms or all of WB, as Mav and I have speculated in the past, that would be something special to be able to put together a Mortal Kombat Killer Instinct, right? And either way, whether we get just a straight up Killer Instinct 2, or we get a combo platter of something that obviously Boone has, wishfully thought of out loud before, I think either way, it's going to be a big deal. But I think that we do have to look at the connecting dots here. And we have to say that there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes than we know about. Just from the surface level. And I'd love to see this go down where they do actually get the best, arguably the best fighting games team in Nether Realms in-house, and finish up a project, something big, and come out with Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct. But I will take Killer Instinct 2 every day. Again, I'm not a fighting guru by any fighting game guru by any stretch of the imagination, but I love button mashing, and I love going in there and tearing up, the AI. Not on the hardest difficulty because you can't do that with button mashing, but I love pulling off special moves. I love the animations and stuff that they bring to fighting games, no matter what style it is. So I can't wait, and I want to hear more, but I think we do have to look a little deeper here.
Hey, Pong.
Absolutely.
Man.
As far as you're talking about, NetherRealm, possibly in the future, right? Now, what is another studio that was started by Xbox to create a new game, and the initiative, right? We just alluded to them, but what did they do? They got help from the connection that their studio head Daryl Gallagher,
correct,
former Crystal Dynamics head up, formerly worked at Square, got support from the aforementioned Crystal Dynamics there to make this game. So even if it's not a acquisition right away of a studio like NetherRealm or
that's
WB,
a great
whatever,
point,
you could
dude.
have.
I never even thought about that.
NetherRealm could be for lease right now because of everything that's going on at WB. And hey, you need some help making this game. Let's see how much we got to write that check for to get NetherRealm to at least help us.
And there's been lots of speculation, man, because NetherRealm has supposedly got something in the hopper, but everybody's been guessing, but nobody's been able to nail down.
We know that it's not Injustice 3, right? We know they've come out and said that they're not currently working on Injustice 3. A lot of people are disappointed with that, but maybe
they worked out the deal for a Mortal Kombat Killer Instinct.
Yeah,
it's possible.
It certainly is possible because obviously, like I said, Ed Boon himself, head of that studio, said he would love to work on it. As a matter of fact, in another interview, I believe it was in 2017, he said he would stop working on a Mortal Kombat to do a Killer Instinct. So he has a love for the franchise. And I mean, Microsoft is literally hitting on all switches right now. And you know what? Great point, Mav. Bringing up the Crystal Dynamics situation, bringing up the Avalanche Studio situation with Contraband, right?
Well, I think the Injustice was planned, right? And I think that
was
with this
planned.
whole WB thing going on, that it was put on the back burner because of the potential licensing. They don't know what's going on with the future of the IP. So with that being said, that could lead to, hey, this project's put on hold. We got this team available, and what's there?
What are we doing? Right. Listen, if Microsoft approached them and said, "Hey, listen, here's a bag of money. This team isn't doing anything. Could we, loan them out?" Because you might start to see that more and more often. We saw, again, perfect example, Avalanche Studios, right? They're not owned by Microsoft, not yet, anyway, right? Crystal Dynamics, we know that we have a feeling that's coming sooner than later, but right now they're on loan to Microsoft to work on that title. Mm-hmm. Why not WB lends out NetherRealm? What that could work if not a purchase, right? So that's a fantastic point. Zemi, let's get your opinion on this. Again, Mav and Pong have literally laid out the perfect transition for this particular conversation. And right now, there are a few, in my opinion, things missing from their portfolio. All right, I'm still going to be on this Banjo-Kazooie thing, folks. I'm never getting off this ship until I get the game. I think that's coming, right? The kid-friendly stuff. Do I think we're going to get a Conquer? Probably not. But do I think we're getting a Banjo? Probably. But the fighting game, when you own an IP as iconic as Killer Instinct, having it sit in the stable just chilling with, just resting on the fact that your last game came out the launch of the Xbox Series, the Xbox One X era, I don't know about that. I'd like to see them that return to greatness because, quite frankly, that fighting game and all of the updates it had was epic. And I'd love to see that continue. What are your thoughts on this new hire?
Yeah, so I think Pong really knocked it out of the park with basically saying, when you see smoke, there's probably fire, right? And there is a lot of, I wouldn't necessarily say maybe evidence, but there's a lot of reason to expect that that Microsoft is currently working on something in the fighting genre. And then of course, we've heard a lot of rumblings about Killer Instinct, and they also own that IP, so that kind of makes a lot of sense. And then I also really like the story that Mav laid down in front of us of what's happening with the initiative in Crystal Dynamics. Something similar could potentially happen with a new fighting game studio under the Xbox brand in NetherRealm. I definitely can see that type of story happening. Overall, I think that it is I think it would be unwise to say that Xbox is not currently actively looking into jumping and providing the Xbox fans with something in the fighting genre. It is a huge gap in their first party lineup, and we talk about on this podcast. It seems almost every other show how variety is super important into services, right? Netflix isn't going to have nothing but horror movies because I'd never watch it, right? But because they have other things like comedies and so on and so forth, I subscribe to Netflix, right? The same thing can be said with Game Pass, right? I may not be particularly a huge fighting game fan, but there are a ton of people that are, and having that, those types of experiences in Game Pass is crucial for its longevity as a service. So with them hiring this person, I think it just points even more towards the fact that they are looking and providing and filling in that gap in their first party lineup. I think that they most certainly are currently actively working towards adding a fighting game to the to the Xbox portfolio, whether that is a Killer Instinct, whether that's a Mortal Kombat, whether that is a mix of the two or something completely brand new. I have no idea, and that just rhymed. Look at me, I'm like a rapper. But I think something I think something is definitely brewing for fighting fans at Xbox. 100%. I definitely see it, and I can I think once again, it would be very unwise to say that Xbox completely is not working or looking towards working on a fighting franchise for their platform. I think that would be completely unwise to say that.
I absolutely agree. Now, Boxenberg, I want to bring up something that I just found, and I had to just reminded myself that they made a big purchase last year, December 3rd. And I got the story in front of me. This comes to us from esportsinsider.com, and they have confirmed that in the statement from Microsoft that they have acquired the esports organization known as Smash GG. And that obviously is a big deal when you start talking about fighting games, when you talk about tournaments, because obviously, esports is a big thing. Smash GG is pretty big. And in a statement from Smash GG, it says this: with this acquisition, the Smash GG community and tournament organizers will continue to benefit from the Smash GG platform, while our team will now benefit from additional resources and support as part of Microsoft Content Services team. For now, it's business as usual as our combined team continues to support our community and tournament organizers. We're excited about this acquisition potential for future e-empower and esports community and expanding Smash GG's reach. And again, this purchase came on December 3rd of 2020. And now, of course, we're seeing that we have Erwin P, who is now an executive producer at Microsoft. And I said the picture that was painted by both Pong and Mav was incredible. Do you think they are quietly, potentially secretly putting together a team to build the next Killer Instinct, or even potentially rent out, if you would, WB Games from WB Games in NetherRealm Studios to help Ed Boon make the next Killer Instinct?
Okay, there's a lot here to unpack. Let me start with that esports thing. I think we talked on this particular show, well, obviously on the Thursday version of it, about the topic a year ago, and it's been awfully quiet about it. I was, while you were reading about it, I was thinking, have we heard anything from this over the course of this year?
Not really.
I cannot really remember. So I wouldn't make a big deal out of that, because these esport organizations, I'm not a big esport insider. I have not a good knowledge about it, to be honest, but they come and go. So I wouldn't read too much into that, because it's been just too quiet to get excited about it. The thing about NetherRealm really is, and I'm glad you went last with me here, is it's a lot of speculation town again, and you know my thoughts. Unless we get actual news, actual information about it, I stopped to try to get excited. The one thing I want to say about this is I am 100% with you. Xbox is trying to get a diverse portfolio in Game Pass, and the fighting game genre is currently missing. So I would be really, really surprised if we wouldn't hear about a Killer Instinct or any other of the bigger fighting IPs getting an Xbox exclusive deal, getting an Xbox exclusive or Game Pass launch day and date kind of a deal, something like that. About the speculations, I've heard the entire year of 2021 that it's acquisition season, and Xbox has not announced anything. So I really stopped speculating in that region unless we get actual how you say actual news about it. So yeah, we shall see, but I would be surprised if we wouldn't see a fighting kind of game in Game Pass really soon.
Well, I'll say this again. You know, a lot of it is speculative, but I like the way Pong put it. There are a lot of red lines that seem to be leading to Microsoft making a big push for this, and I think that one of the things we've heard Phil Spencer talk about is having a diverse lineup and not having a kid-friendly game like Banjo-Kazooie, and not having a fighting game in there to round off what they already have is some avenue that needs to be gone down, if you will, and hopefully that we will see that in the future. It would be pretty epic and the biggest news of any year that it releases that NetherRealm Studios was working with Microsoft to bring the next Killer Instinct. I mean, that would be groundbreaking, and it would, again, would that lead to a potential acquisition? Well, we don't know, but it would be great nonetheless. And I personally think that the platform needs Killer Instinct to come back. When you have an iconic IP like that just sitting around collecting dust, I think it's a mistake, and hopefully they do fix that. But I do want to get to the final topic of today, and we're cruising along. It's almost like 30 minutes per topic, which I love. And this is one people have been asking us to talk about, and that is Project Spartacus, which of course is Sony's somewhat answer to Xbox Game Pass. Now that story broke last week at I believe it was Friday. People were talking about it. And we have some information, not a lot of information. We do know that there's going to be 3 tiers. It sounds like a polished version of PS Now, right? You're going to be able to play PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and PSP games. There's going to be PS4 games in there. I don't know if the third and final tier is going to incorporate PlayStation 5 games, but I do know for a fact that Jason Schreier, who broke this at Bllomburg.com, who broke this story, has confirmed that SIE first-party titles are not going to be a part of this. Now, I don't necessarily know if that means in general or as that means day and date like Xbox Game Pass. They're still there. There's only so much of the story we were able to get. Zemi Games, I want to go to you first. Are you there, brother?
I'm
There
always
you
here.
go.
Boom.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Listen, this has been touted as the Xbox killer, which I found to be ridiculous. People were saying that. These are also the same folks that said that, why play old games? Because that's what Xbox Game Pass is. And they clearly said that it was going to be PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and PSP games. So why even bother with it if you don't like playing old games? I think this is the start of something. I am not going to support this. I do not want to play old PlayStation 1 games. I just don't. I literally have no reason to go back and play Twisted Metal 1 because why? I've played the hell out of it and it was enough. This is I think it's a limp attempt at trying to bolster their the people subscribing. I don't know how as well it's gonna move because PS Now didn't do very well for them. I mean, it's been out since 2014, and I think they just crossed 3.5 million subscribers since 2014. That's not really good when you look at what Xbox Game Pass has done since the summer of 2017. What are your thoughts on Spartacus? Do you think that we will eventually, and I say we because the day that they say first-party games are their day and date is the way I will subscribe to that. Do you think Sony is trying to make their version of Xbox Game Pass?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, and I think a lot of us can kind of see the transition that gaming's taking towards services, and I do think that they are trying to create their own version of Game Pass, and hopefully they call it Play Pass because that would be fantastic. I don't know. I was thinking it was like, what are they going to call it? Because in a Bllomburg article that I read about it, it also mentioned that they are potentially going to be looking towards keeping the PlayStation Plus branding, but slowly pulling back from the PlayStation Now branding. So it kind of seems like they're eventually are going to kind of remove the whole PlayStation Now thing and really just go with whatever this Project Spartacus is called. And so I started thinking of names, and I was like, well, Play Pass sounds really cool. I don't know. There's a free one to Sony. Take that idea if you want it. You can have it.
Don't take it for free. Pay this man. They
can take it. It's perfectly fine. But no, I think that this is their attempt to straightening out their service, which has not been very successful. Let's just call it for what it is, and transition it into something that hopefully will offer more value to their consumers, which I think is fantastic that they're trying and that they're going out of their way to to do what they can. I see a lot of similarities. Because a lot of the times whenever we're talking about Game Pass, we always talk about how great of a thing it is. And let me tell you, it's pretty great, but it didn't used to be great. And I see a lot of similarities to whatever this Project Spartacus will be called, and how Game Pass was initially whenever it launched. I do see some similarities there. And so I think PlayStation is really dipping their toes, trying to, create a better service for their players. And I think it's going to evolve and get better. Will we ever see first-party games go in there day and date? I'm not sure. I don't know if Sony has the the capability and the capacity to do that the way that Xbox does. Microsoft, it has a lot more money at their expense to make that type of thing happen. And Sony is so much more heavily reliant on PlayStation than Microsoft is on Xbox, right? So I don't know if we'll ever see that happen. One feature that I think is in the third tier of their service is extended demos is what it read in the Bllomburg article that I read. And I think that's really interesting because that might be somewhat of an answer for them. Obviously, this isn't confirmed. This is just my speculation on it. But this could possibly be their, answer to first party games being in the service. They may offer extended demos of their first party games the way that EA Play does, allowing users
like
to
a 10-hour play, right?
Yeah. And that might be their answer. That might be what they can actually offer, because I don't see them being able to offer, games day and date, at least not currently. But overall, I think it's great news, honestly. I really do, because, I don't have anything against PlayStation. I like the platform. I like the games. I wish that it was better. I wish that it offered more value to me as a consumer. And I wish that this Project Spartacus did the same thing. I want more value, and until they add it, I'm probably not going to subscribe. But I think that this is a great direction that they're moving into, especially since there's been so much quiet around their services. To finally hear something like this being, some proactivity, coming from PlayStation on their service sides of things, I think is great. But with me saying that, I also don't think PlayStation is ever going to be able to compete the same way Xbox and Microsoft is able to do with Game Pass. I think that we always call Game Pass the Netflix of gaming, and I think that's very accurate. I think that we're going to end up calling whatever replaces PlayStation Now the Hulu of gaming. I think that they're for sure going to be able to compete. I think they're going to be able to cut their own area in the market, which is great. I don't want to see Xbox have 100% market share. But I think that it is going to ultimately turn into the Hulu of gaming. I think that they're going to be probably the second leader in game services, which is not anything to tout on. I'd love to be the second leader in game services. You can make a lot of money, right? But I don't think that they're going. I don't think this move is really any way going to hurt Xbox tremendously as it sits. They definitely need to evolve this service even more, and hopefully we'll see them do that.
Yeah, and real quick, we got some breaking news. Apparently, Pong just threw this in the chat. The Halo TV series show is going to get the stage set for it at the Game Awards this Thursday. They just tweeted something moments ago where you're going to get a chance to see. It says, "Gear up, Spartans. We'll see you at the Game Awards on Thursday. # Halo the series." Yes, please. That is dope. That's excellent. I can't wait. I can't wait to, if this thing hits like I think it's going to hit in a year that mind you, it's not releasing till next year, but on a year prior that had Halo Infinite hit on both single multiplayer, getting the TV series to launch is pretty epic. I'm very excited for that. But good stuff, Zemi, for sure. Pong, let's get your opinion on this. Again, it's funny. I don't think we're ever going to see Nintendo do this. I think no matter what happens with this Spartacus, whether it becomes big or it becomes a flop, because PS Now is a flop. When it's been out for that long and just over 3 million or 3.5 million subscribers, obviously the data would show no one really gives a crap, especially because you're streaming a lot of these games. And I know you can download some of them, but it's just not hitting with their fan base like Xbox Game Pass is hitting, which is potentially sitting at 30 million right now. What are your thoughts on this? Are they too late, or can they eventually evolve it the same way Game Pass has evolved over the years to do day and date?
Yeah. Look, okay, let's start here. First of all, this is a leak. This is not official from Sony, so we don't know what it's going to look like when it finally comes out. I don't doubt Schreier's obviously information. He's very good at what he does when he digs in.
He's a D-bag, but he is good in investigating.
Personal thoughts aside,
squirmy little hands on this.
Right. Personal thoughts aside, he is good at what he does. Okay, so period. So I won't question his information. However, this could only be a piece of the pie. We could see more when they finally do announce it. Maybe coming into next year, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's still a work in progress. So there's a lot left to find out about this, but this is a starting point for them. Okay, I liked how Paul Tassi put it in Forbes, the article he did the following day, when all the kind of the dust had settled and everybody had gotten over the whole it's a Game Pass killer or this Game Pass competition, whatever. he said it's a rebranding right now. And that is a perfect way to put this. Like we just talked about, like you just mentioned, Boom. PS Now has not succeeded. Okay. It has not lived up to expectations, I'm sure, internally for Sony. Again, we'll never know. But I got to imagine when they first started that service years ago, that they envisioned it to be much bigger than it is right now. So what do you do from a psychological standpoint? Right now, you have two services on Sony that they're offering, PS Plus and PS Now. You don't see the conversion rate to people subscribing to PS Now. So what do? You combine the two. We talked about this so many times, Boom, on this show and elsewhere about what it would look like when a Game Pass competitor finally came out from Sony. This is not the final form. This is a starting point. It's going to take Sony a lot longer to turn the ship. They don't have the resources behind them that an Xbox does to do a 180, whether it's money, servers, all that kind of stuff. We heard about that old deal from Sony with Azure. We don't know if that's part of this or if that they're going to use Azure. We don't know any of that, but they just don't have the internal backing and resources that an Xbox does to make something happen instantaneously. It's going to be a long process. Okay. So this is just a starting point for them to jump off of. First things first, you've got a ton of people in PS Plus and you got a little group over in PS Now. You combine the two, psychologically, it's much easier for people to say, you know what? I'm just going to jump in, whatever it's going to cost. And we don't know pricing yet. Pricing could be outrageous and that would kill it. Let's say they do the right thing and the pricing is reasonable. It's a lot easier for people to say, all right, I'll just jump in. I'll get the PS Now. I've been looking at those old games. Yeah. They're not going to play the best, but you know what? I still would love to jump into Twisted Metal from time to time. I'd still love to jump into Sly Cooper from time to time and go back and relive that nostalgia, right? That nostalgia drug is a huge deal. Again, we tried to hear all the fanboys say, we don't play old games. Who plays old games? Guess what? You all do. You just don't want to admit it. So guess what's going to happen is nostalgia is going to kick in and you're just going to buy that package deal. So now all of a sudden your subs go through the roof, right? Even if it is a little bit of, bait and switch, a little bit of, illusion, your subs are going to go through the roof. Okay. So now you got more people in there. So as that grows, just like with Game Pass, but a different level, as that grows, they will be able to evolve this. Now they do have the ability, and we talked about this before, Boom, to offer content because they have movies and music. Okay. They can offer content that diversifies and kind of gives a different take on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that they definitely, I'm sure, are considering. They've got all the anime stuff now as well that they can throw in there. There's a lot of things they can do to entice people.
That Crunchyroll purchase went through.
Correct. Yeah. Right. So they can they can create a lot of value outside of gaming to people that want to jump in that ecosystem. Right. So there is some things they are able to do that is different from elsewhere. And I think that that's going to be a key to what they do going forward as far as strategy. At least it would be from my perspective. Again, just playing armchair CEO. I certainly don't run a $1 billion, $1 trillion company.
You don't?
No, I don't. I know, right? So, but at the end of the day,
you should.
You should. You absolutely should.
I agree. Hey,
you have my vote.
Hey, I'll go work for anybody. All right. Come get me. All right. I'm going to be a lot less. My price is going to be a lot less than a lot of the other people you're going to look for that have all this experience. Who needs that experience? I'll just jump in and do
what you say there is so great because a lot of people, like, Microsoft is a technology company first and foremost. Sony is an entertainment company, and there's advantages on both sides. They have a lot of TV show, movies, that type of stuff that they can kind of bundle together in a service, and that is one of their strengths for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that's got to be a part of their strategy. So I think that as their service grows, they'll be able to invest more and more. Now, as far as day and date stuff goes, and we've had these conversations. I've said from the beginning, I don't believe they can match 1 for 1. Okay. Unless something big were to happen, unless something absolutely seismic shift wise were to happen, Amazon buys them, something like that. They're not going to be able to do day and date. Okay. With everything, I think there will come a time where they get very close to day and date with some of their titles. I think that they can go and, look at individually. They can look at each title and say, okay, hey, this one, let's say the new Bend title, right? The new Ben Studios title. Let's say that one comes out. It doesn't necessarily take off running, right? It sales wise. Then they can offer that, even if it's for a limited time, even if they don't do it like, Xbox does it where the game, first party titles are in there for life. They don't have to do that. So they can throw it in there and say, hey, for the, whatever, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, after launch, they can drop it in there and say, hey, we're offering this for a limited time. Go check it out, right? They can start doing those kind of things that also creates value. And then they can go back to the older stuff, the PS5 stuff like Demon Souls, like Ratchet and Clank, those kind of titles. Once this launches, they can look at their sales, and obviously there's going to be it's going to be on a downward trend as the title gets older. They can throw those games in there as well. And they can say, well, we're not doing day and date, but we are going to eventually start putting some of our older stuff in there. All of that can create value. Is it going to be the same as Game Pass Ultimate? No, of course not. They haven't spent the years that Xbox did to develop this brand new way of thinking, right? Change in philosophy and create this whole new structure to be able to support this. No, they're not going to be able to do that up front. It's always probably going to be Game Pass's little brother. But at the end of the day, for the Sony fans, for people jumping into that, that's going to be great for them. It's still value at the end of the day, depending on how you feel about it and depending what they're offering. But you're going to entice people to jump in more than you are right now. Obviously, again, that's why PS Now has not taken off. So you're going to be able to get people to convert into that when they buy their PS5. Again, it's something I certainly would look at as a nostalgia guy, even though their backwards compatibility is nowhere even close to what Xbox is offering with the upgrades and all that kind of stuff. Still, I would like to go back and jump in those old games from time to time. Sony's got a gigantic, great catalog of games.
Oh, they do. They do.
And there's no denying that. So for me, when I get my PS5, if this is something they're offering at that time, I'll jump in. And I think a lot of people will do so. And I think at the end of the day, they do. Again, Jim Ryan's in his spot for a reason. Jim Ryan is there because it's about the bottom line. And they understand no matter how much garbage has been thrown out there that these services are not sustainable or they're not money makers or they're whatever the case may be. Jim knows they are. You want that residual monthly income, that residual monthly fees that you get from your customers for a subscription service is worth a ton more than a one-shot $70 game, no matter how many of those $70 games you sell. Yeah. You'd much rather have that consistent revenue coming into your bottom line every single month from a nice big subscription base than you would from creating the next home run once every 3 to 5 years from a studio and selling, 15 million copies to,
if you're lucky, though.
If you're lucky, right? It's your biggest titles, right?
And that's the one thing that could work for Sony because they are right now. Their strategy is very old.
Yes,
right. And they have to sell you the box.
Yep.
And they gotta sell 15+ million copies of said game.
Yep.
Because that's these games that they make at their movie quality, they're very, very expensive. We've heard Jim Ryan talk about that.
Correct.
So Microsoft is in a position where they don't have to sell 20 million copies of Halo Infinite to win because they have 30 million people already subscribed to a service that is $15 a month.
Correct. And that's the way that's what you want as a bottom dollar. Jim understands this. That's why we see now their games going to PC, even though we were told by some of the pundits out there, these experts, that there was no way they were ever going to go to PC. Look, Jim gets it. Jim sees the future. Sony sees the future. It's just a lot slower turning that big ship than it is for something like Xbox. And again, Xbox was forced in a lot of ways because of the position they put themselves in. So therefore they had to make a drastic decision and they did it. But at the end of the day, Sony just can't do it that way. Even if they really, really wanted to, they just can't because the resources, the time that's going to take for them to catch up is going to be a lot slower turn. But they are headed that direction. No matter what anybody else wants to tell you, no matter what anybody wants to say, I've already seen the goalposts move a million times. Well, they're not doing day and date, so it's still good. Look, it's only a matter of time that they get closer to it. Again, it'll never be one for one. Unless there's a seismic change. There will never be one for one with Game Pass. However, they are going to offer newer games in there. It only makes sense because the The subscription base will just continue to grow the more value you offer in there. And I think this is a great jumping off point for Sony. I'm glad they did it. I put out a tweet right away. I said, competition is good. Without Xbox's success
Indeed.
in the Game Pass, they are trailblazing. Xbox is trailblazing. Now you're going to see people follow suit. We've seen Nintendo kind of dip their toes with that Sega Genesis subscription thing that they got going on, Nintendo thing they got going on. Like you said, Boom, it's good. Nintendo is Nintendo. They're in their own pond. But for a company like Sony, they've watched Xbox, blaze that trail. They can see a way forward. They're just going to have to do it their own way because it's not the same for them. So, but this is a great way to show that competition does work. And we, the gamers, again, golden age of gaming here, we, the gamers, are the ones that benefit at the end of the day. Even if that service as it stands, as we've heard that it is right now, does not appeal to you, you can imagine at some point down the road, they are going to expand it. And all of a sudden you're going to say to yourself, you know what? Now it's worth it to me. And I'm going to jump into that subscription service. So this is what competition does. That's why I love it. I'm glad to see it. I can't wait to see what else comes out. And I can't wait for the official announcement to really get eyes on to see what it's going to look like at the end of the day. So good for Sony. Happy for the industry. This is a way forward for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Bllomburg, let's get your opinion on this. For me, this isn't, it's exciting, but it's something I will not subscribe to because I would only get it for day and date releases. Listen, I buy all of them. It's $70 per game, $76.43 here in New York. And if they did make a day and date like Game Pass, I would be a day one subscriber, even if I paid $15 a month, which for some reason I think Sony would charge $20. I don't know. I think they would go a little higher. That's just so Sony.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Spartacus? Do you think that this is going to make a dent in what they're trying to do with the future of the brand?
Yeah, see, my initial reaction was, oh, great, we're getting a subscription service on PlayStation because I love Game Pass. Everyone knows that. I'm a huge fan. I think it's the future for gaming. We've seen it in all forms of entertainment, in music, movies, TV shows. Everything is going subscription. Books, everything. So I was happy to see that. Then I looked a little closer and saw their approach with the 3 tiers and what they are currently apparently offering, because we all have to take it with a grain of salt, and nothing has been confirmed. But if the leak turns out to be true, they are basically offering what they are offering now. And only the highest tier adds something to the value, and that is backwards compatibility, and you gotta pay for that. And I don't see me subscribing to that. It's Sony being Sony. I would have loved a day and date subscription service. I mean, everyone does, but the fact is, games, especially Sony games, are even a little bit more expensive than in the US. I have to pay $93 for
in
a
Canada,
PlayStation
it's $105.
Yeah, see, and I know a lot of gamers in Brazil. They laugh at the prices we have to pay. They pay even more. They are, depending on the region they live in, something in between $120 and $150. So, yeah, a subscription service would have definitely helped my wallet, and they are not doing that. So what are they offering? They are offering what they are offering today with PlayStation Now, in combination with what they are offering with PS Plus. I'm a PS Plus subscriber. I'm not a PS Now subscriber, but yeah, I don't see myself. And there's a reason to why I don't subscribe to PlayStation Now, because it simply doesn't offer anything. PlayStation isn't my main platform. It isn't. I have it for the exclusives, and they are not in there. And so, yeah, it doesn't offer me value, and I don't see myself paying a monthly fee to play PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 games. I love backwards compatibility, and I would love to go back and play some of my all-time favorites from the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era. I would really love to do that. But I'm not paying them for paying them money to do that. They're really going down the Nintendo route with that. I was really reminded about that.
Yeah, Nintendo is just, they do things in a, again, that's why you'll never see the service come to Nintendo, because knuckleheads like me went out and bought every
Yeah.
game that was on the Wii for my Switch.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I have Mario Kart 8. I have everything. I don't know how many times I bought games like Mario Brothers and or Mario 64 and so on. With Nintendo, it's somehow different. I'm not a big fan either of of that business case, but I am part of the problem. So I can't complain here. I don't see myself doing the same thing here with PlayStation. I've seen a lot of, outside of the fanboys, obviously, I have seen a lot of gamers say thinking different similarly, because the thing really is, what is the actual value I'm getting for whatever price it will be, 15-20 bucks. I'm with you, Boom. I don't see Sony launching the highest tier for 15 bucks. I just don't see it. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they offer a lot more to the service. Maybe they say something like every first-party game is coming after 3 months to to Spartacus. That's something we could consider then. We shall see, but from what we know from the leaks, I really don't think this is a Game Pass competitor. It really reminded me more of what Nintendo is doing, just more expensive. And so, yeah, I'm not
to me, it seems like a fresh coat of paint for PlayStation now. That's about it.
Yeah. And now the one thing I want to say though is, I mean, we are all probably here multi-platform owners. Yeah, we all have Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStations, and so we have choice, and we all play mainly on Xbox. Now, if you think about the gamer who has only the PlayStation, for them it might be a bit of a different evaluation, even though if it's not day one releases, if there are hundreds of games available in the service, it's still an option. But then on the other hand, apparently a lot of PlayStation gamers don't think it is a value for them, because they can do it today with PlayStation now. There are a lot of games, a bit older games in there, and it doesn't appeal to the masses. So if they do go down the road like Microsoft has, and that they add more or less a lot of games that are only, let's say, 6 months old, something like that, yeah, what we have seen on Xbox just today, Series Sam 4 released, yeah, that game, how old is that?
Series Sam
couple of months.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they do stuff like that, I could see it still being successful. But as of what we have heard so far, it's only the combination of PS Plus and PS Now, what it is today. And the last year adds that backwards compatibility. And I'm really not a big fan to pay for something that another platform offers for free. So yeah. We shall see if it's really a Game Pass competitor. I don't think so, and I really don't get any outlet who has written titles like "That's the Game Pass killer." I've seen so many bigger outlets writing articles like that. It's nowhere close to it. Without day and date, it's not really a competitor.
Absolutely, Mav. Close it out for today. What are your thoughts on Project Spartacus? That was, again, it's a rumor as it stands. Sony themselves has not come out and confirmed it, but Jason Schreier, even though he's a D-bag, he does get it right, and he does break these big stories. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, would you subscribe to the current or leaked 3-tier system, or is this something you would pass on?
I just need more information. I think, definitely this is true, because if Schreier comes out with a big Bllomburg report about it, I mean, this is going to happen, right? So it just depends on when is the announcement going to happen and what is going to be in that announcement that he didn't really cover, because he broke it down with a general sense, but he didn't go into extreme detail on each tier, right? So it may sound exactly the same as PS Now and PS Plus is now, with just a reshuffle. But I think back to what Jim Ryan said in an interview before about they are working on their answer to Game Pass. right? He actually said this. They were working on their answer to Game Pass. Okay. This is going to be that answer in their eyes. So, and for them, this is their competitor to Game Pass, whether the media or us see it as that or not. Because if it's just what Schreier said, it's not. It's not going to compete because day and date games, unless you have that, you got to really fill it in with a lot of other stuff
Yeah.
to make that value difference, right? Because guess what? When it comes to subscription service, one of the main reasons people subscribe, besides getting content, is value. We save money by having subscription services. A lot of us, depending on the amount of content we like to consume.
Yep.
And if you were only able to, okay, like for example, hey, you can go and see every new movie that comes out 6 months after it releases for the low price of $14.99, or you could pay $20.99 and go see every movie that comes out day one. Which one are you going to take? Right? You want to see the stuff right away. You're not going to
Yeah.
want to wait. Okay. There's a huge value gap within that proposition alone. So what does that mean? Like if they really want to have an answer to Game Pass, they got to have some more details. They got to pump in more content. They got to have more variety. They got to have
Yes.
more games. They got to have all of these things. So that's got to happen. So I am assuming and hoping that when they make this announcement, they are going to do it by announcing that games are coming at least sooner to the service, as well as have a plan of what the content is going to be, because this is their answer, right? They like it's got to be. They are so behind
Yes.
with this. The uh, PlayStation Plus subscriber base is huge, but it has actually decreased this year over the last year. It was at 47 million the year prior, and it went down to like 46, right?
Yeah.
So they have a decreasing amount of PlayStation Plus subscriber base. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to change this into a service, have that as the bottom tier, right? And with maybe a couple extra goodies in there, who knows exactly what it is. But then all of a sudden, this new service, you have a subscriber base of 46 million, and you're going to be able to market that. Hey, Game Pass only has what, 20 million, and we got 46 million. That's how they're going to twist it, and that's how they're going to market it, right?
Yeah.
I can already see it because that's marketing. If to drive excitement about a product, you want to say everybody's using this product. It's the most popular product out there, right? So that's one thing behind it as well. I think is just to, hey, this is lowering numbers right now. We have an unsuccessful thing with PS Now. You got like it's been out way longer than Game Pass, and it has a fraction of the
Yeah,
subscriber base.
literally a fraction. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a seventh, right? Even if that. Okay. So you got to bundle those, try and figure out a way to bring the excitement, get rid of the disastrous name of PlayStation Now. Potentially, remember the Azure deal with Sony and Xbox?
Yep.
That maybe this is finally their whole vision of what they've been working on is coming to fruition with enabling their PS plus tier with the back compat with Azure. You're going to be able to play it on your PC virtually. You're going to be able to play it streaming potentially on your mobile device streaming. All of these things, right, could add into that with that being the top tier. But the last catch is you got to have that variety. You can't just have single player content, right? You can subscribe to a subscription for a month or two, beat all the games, unsubscribe, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you have a movie subscription service and like they only come out with one movie. I mean, there's going to be no point to keep the service, right? So they got to have more investment, more variety, more games. I think it's a good thing because I think this is going to increase competition. It's going to increase Sony's investment, and I hope it's successful, right? I hope it's successful because then guess what? We will get those things just like we're getting it with Xbox.
Yep.
Right. And if they do that, and there's the potential is huge. If they are successful with it and it does start to take off and they get more subscriptions and they start getting some higher tier, that day and date stuff will start happening more because they will see the constant incoming revenue and what is being more successful in their books, selling one-off games or that consistent revenue. once they discover that the subscription model, just like every other big entertainment industry is discovering that the subscription model of that constant revenue coming in is actually more successful for them, they're going to start wanting to focus on what is the most dramatic things we can do to increase that subscription. So it's going to take some time, but eventually I think we will get more day and date stuff. And the first things we will probably see is multiplayer focused content.
Yeah,
That
I
is
would
going to be a
imagine
new investment from them. So I think this is going to be the start. I'm curious to see where it goes, let's say 2 years from now. But I think this is their answer. Whether it's going to directly compete or not, it's gonna be a question, man. But like, I have high hopes. I want them to succeed. Now, will I subscribe? I'm a PS Plus subscriber, so
Yeah, me too.
I'm
I've been
guessing
for
they're gonna
years. Yes.
roll that in, and I'm automatically going to be subscribed because of that. Probably. Now, will I subscribe to the highest tier? I got to know a lot more information, and I got to have an official announcement, and I got to see some stuff before I can ever make that decision. So,
One of the things I think Sony's going to have a problem with is their games take about 5 years to release.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they do not have as many studios as Xbox does. That's why Xbox has all of these studios, 23, and a total of 35 plus teams. Now, again, that's not talking about some of the second party stuff that they're doing. That's also not talking about future acquisitions. So Microsoft has found a way that they're constantly adding content to it to keep you subscribed, not only through the second and third party deals, but through their first party offerings. And 2021 is a perfect example of that. I think that may hinder Sony in the beginning years of this service. Maybe that's why they're not currently talking about day and date, because they just cannot.
They can't do it yet. They need more studios.
They can't deliver on that. Yeah, that's a great point. But listen, folks, this has been a solid 2+ hour show. Final super chat of the day comes into us from Keo Walker, generous friend. His second super chat. He said, Halo Infinite's theater films created between 11/15 and 12/7 will become unavailable tomorrow on 12/8. That's very disappointing. Are those shorts that I guess maybe he's talking about, those Halo Infinite shorts? I don't know why Halo would pull those back. I mean, Microsoft pull those back, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe they're trying to put them all into one package kind of a thing and release it out there for us to watch. I'd love to see them all in one shot, to be honest with you, instead of getting the little pieces that we were getting. But folks, listen, I want to thank everyone. We had well over 300 people here today. Great way to celebrate Halo Week. Tomorrow is Halo Infinite's coming out party, so to speak. I cannot wait to get into it. I know everyone is going to be walking away from Halo multiplayer, at least for a bit, to get down with the first Halo Infinite single-player campaign since 2015's Halo 5. And I think that based on all the reviews that we've seen, they have hit it out of the park, and I could not be more excited and happy for 343 Industries and everyone that was involved in bringing us Halo Infinite, both multiplayer and single-player. Of course, let's get to the outros. We'll start first with Zemi Games. Zemi, we know what you're doing right after this podcast. You're going to shoot people in the face and laugh at them while you're doing it. Where could people reach out to you on social media, and also check out Constant Gamer on YouTube?
Boom! I never laugh at them. I never laugh at them. No,
you're always sad for them. You cry for them.
I do. You know, I actually. True story. There is a guy who was driving a brute chopper in Halo one day, and I felt bad for him. So I actually stood there, like in the middle of the road, and I wanted him to like run me over. That's how nice of a person I am, because there's an achievement for running someone over with a brute chopper. If I'm not mistaken.
There is. I got that achievement. Yes.
And so that's how charitable of a soul I am in Halo, right? You know, I never trash talk. I don't laugh at the people I absolutely,
destroy,
murder. No, I'm such a wonderful person in Halo. No, none of that's probably true. But
thanks to you, I learned a lot of new curse words in English. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. No, Constant Gamer is my YouTube channel. Go check it out. I do a bunch of gaming related content. So check out the YouTube channel. Once again, it's called Constant Gamer. Watch some videos. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Zimmy Games. I post food pics. I did yesterday. I had a wonderful lunch at Chewy's. It's a Mexican restaurant. And I post other things like gaming news and so on and so forth. Just the typical things that you would expect someone like me to post on Twitter is what I do. So you can follow me over there at Zimmy Games. Boom. Fantastic show as always. I can't wait to hopefully jump into some Halo with you later on this evening. New challenges just came out, and then of course the campaign tomorrow. Super excited.
Yes, me too. Actually, Keel Walker explains what he meant. Theater films is the full match videos that automatically record. Oh yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to be doing a lot of recording for it. So I mean, again, maybe that's just them, moving it from the beta to the official release, which will be tomorrow. But thanks a lot for the information, Keo. Definitely appreciate that as always. Pong Soul, brother, please, by all means, sell your brand. Talk about what other shows you want. And quite frankly, there's a few of them, but more specifically, the Saturday living split screen with your brother, Steel Rain, who had the day off and is listening in the background of today's podcast. Steel, what's up, brother? Hopefully you are doing well. Talk about that. Where can people reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. What a great show. Great topics, great discussion. Chat was involved. Love the talk in there. Speculation Town in full force today. I love it. I love it. But it was a great show. This is a great time to be a gamer overall. Brothers, I appreciate every single one of you. Chat, all of you, nothing but love and respect for coming out and supporting us all the time. Just greatly appreciate it. But man, what a way to start a Tuesday morning. So look, you can find me Pong Soul, Xbox, Twitter, the drill there. Follow me, follow you back. Otherwise, Thursday, the gaming gods have shined upon myself and Mav. The Game Awards are going live during our show. So we are going to have a Game Awards special show.
Good for you, brother.
Thursday.
That's excellent.
That's
Good.
right. PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM over on Fun Speculations channel. We start the show at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, about 30 minutes before the Game Awards start. So we're going to have live reactions, everybody. Come join Mav and myself on Thursday night. Fun Speculations channel again. Fridays, Xbox Ultimate, Fun Speculations channel again. Mav will talk about this, but the Magnificent 7 I had missed last week, so I cannot wait to get back at it this week on Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Join us there. Saturday mornings, living split screen. That's right. My brother from another, Steel Rain, and I, bringing it live, raw, and uncut, as he likes to say. Get your Saturday morning started. 3 hours plus, him and I covering all topics across the entire industry, non-console centric. We are just about talking gaming, community, all things going on. You're going to get rants. Last week, we were on fire. Both him and I were just over the top last week, but we were having such a great time doing it. So come check us out there, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Living split screen. Split screen is all one word. Please come join us and see if you like our show and subscribe. We just passed 400 over Thanksgiving. We're on our way to 1,000. So we need to get there, but we want people who want to be a part of our show, not just to get the subs. We're about having people that enjoy us as we enjoy them. So come see us. Otherwise, Saturday nights, the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy Belvedere, and myself, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time. We end your Saturday on a fantastic note. Great talks over there. Please come check us out. That's PTK Blam's channel. Otherwise, it is the golden age of gaming. Please, I know it's all Halo. But look, there's a lot of other good games out there. A lot. Trust me.
There's not.
Me as a
Nothing else
grazer.
exists but Halo. How dare you, sir?
I'm a grazer, so I'm everywhere. All right. So I'm going to be checking out Halo as well, obviously. But there's a lot of good stuff out there. Chorus, if you guys and gals,
Yeah, I'm buying it today, dude. I forgot to release.
I held out because of Halo, but that is on my list for sure.
It's got to be on your list. Go check out the videos if you're into space shooters in any way, shape, or form. The reviews have been mixed, but generally positive. Let me tell you, it's one of the best space shooter games that I've played in a long, long time. It is excellent.
And it's $40,
stuff.
by the way.
$40, not a full
Yeah.
price game either. Well worth it. So please go check that out. But there's a ton of games out there. Go enjoy. Can't wait for the Game Awards. Play what you love what you play, and I will be talking to you real soon, gamers.
Thank you so much for that. And Boxenberger, you tell everyone about the video you just put out yesterday, which was fantastic. And also, where can people subscribe to your growing YouTube channel and reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, first, thanks, of course, for having me. It's always a pleasure here hanging out with the bros. It's a highlight of my week, and the chat is also always awesome. Great community here. So thanks, everyone. Everywhere on the Boxenberger. Where I do have and I do have a small but growing YouTube channel. As you said, I just put out a video about the Game Awards. Not the awards themselves, but the Game Awards have become this event where publishers and developers make the big announcements at the end of the year. It's kind of like a mini E3, to be honest. I think it's the second biggest gaming announcement event, if you want to call it that. We have each year, and I made a little video about what we can expect to see, what are the rumors, and of course a few predictions from my side. So definitely check that out. And if you're into that kind of content, also consider to hit the like and subscribe button on the video. So otherwise, I see you guys in 2 weeks. I won't be able to make it next week. I'm out of town Monday to Wednesday next week. So
we got to cancel the entire show now.
Cancel everything.
Cancel it.
I gotta miss you. I try to tune in and listen, but I won't be able to join next week. So I see you guys in 2 weeks then.
Well, thank you so much for that, brother. Definitely appreciate the what you bring to this show. And last and no way least, Mav, do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone not only where they could subscribe to your growing YouTube channel, not only where they could reach out to you on social media, talk about what you got going on Thursday, PM in the PM. The gaming gods have indeed blessed you, and you're going to be, guys, I would imagine, going to cover it. I will not be covering it. I'm going to be talking about it on Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom. I'm going to sit back and just be a fan for a second and enjoy the show, or at least try to enjoy the show, because there's going to be a lot of world premieres. Supposedly, there are 3 massive first-party Xbox games being there, Hellblade 2 being one of them. That pretty much has been almost confirmed. A lot of people have been talking about that. Tell everyone about that, Mav.
Yeah, man. They also said that there's like 4 games that they're going to announce day one on PC as well for Game Pass.
Yes.
It's awesome, man. Great time to be an Xbox fan. Great time to be a gamer. For gaming content, plus also movies and stuff, check out Fun Speculation on YouTube. We're roughly about 80 subs away from 2K.
Nice, dude.
Hoping to hit it by the end of the year. It would be awesome. So if you guys have a chance, you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. We have lots of shows that we do, including yesterday we did Tidbits, where we kind of look ahead at the games coming out for the week. This week was a big week because we got Halo, obviously, right? I'm here every week that I can be for Xbox Factor Podcast, one of the best podcasts out there.
Thank you, sir.
Wednesdays is Fun Pop on Fun Speculation, where we talk movies, TV shows, and all that fun stuff. We had a great discussion last week about Tom Holland. I found out there's not a lot of Tom Holland fans out there, in our chat at least. So, hey.
No, I can't believe that. I love that kid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, me too. It's okay. It's okay. It's just our chat, I think. They just don't like him. I don't know. Then Thursdays, like Pong said, PM in the PM, usually Pong and I will deep dive on some topic similar to some of the subjects that we had today. But this week is going to be very special because the Game Awards are here, as Pong says. So we're gonna give it our all. We're gonna cover it live and have a blast. I expect it to be the best Game Awards we have ever seen as far as reveals and trailers. So I am super pumped about that. And because of that happening on Thursday, and because of Halo launching tomorrow, Friday night on an Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, it is going to be insane. If you want to see extremely happy gamers excited to talk about stuff, come tune in to the Magnificent 7 on Xbox Ultimate Podcast Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then one last show. I know, everybody. I'm sorry. FSP is on Saturdays, where we have a non-console specific podcast as well. We talk about everything. So we'll be able to dive into the other things that were revealed at the Game Awards as well on Saturday on the Fun Speculation podcast with Gaming Key and Fuzzy Belvedere. So I hope to see everybody there. And thank you for watching this awesome show, everybody.
Well, thank you very much. Definitely appreciate that. And of course, I want to thank all the super chats that came in. You folks power the show and allow us the ability to do big giveaways. The next big one is coming. Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. We'll be giving away over $500 of both digital and physical prizes. We'll be making that announcement on what Breakfast at Boom. I believe it's going to be not this one, the following one right before Christmas, because obviously Christmas Eve would be the one that we're not, there will be no show because, obviously we're going to be spending time with family. But we will be, of course, doing that giveaway. It's something we have been doing. This will be the 4th annual one. And like I said, we'll make the announcement on what we will be giving away. And all you got to do is show up. Obviously, if you are a channel member or a person that drops in super chats, you get additional entries. And obviously, just a better chances gives you a better chance to win one of the prizes. And if they are physical prizes, they will be mailed out that weekend. So if you do win something that you want to maybe potentially give away for the holidays, you'll have it in time for said holiday that you celebrate. Of course, I want to thank my panel for being here. We wouldn't have a show without them. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And it was very simple, folks. Treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast.